It's time once again for another thrilling episode of Markout Radio. For the next hour, sit back, pull the stick out of your ass, and enjoy. Be warned though, smarks and internet know-it-alls will be offended, annoyed, and generally pissed off at what's about to happen to your ear holes. You've been warned. Now, Markout Radio.
All right, welcome back to Markout Radio, episode 77 for March the 3rd, 1997. The Omni at Atlanta, Georgia, hosted this week by Tony Schiavone, Larry Zbyszko, Mike Tenay, and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Now listen, before we get into the show, just can you fucking kill the music for a second? I'm going to be Debbie Downer here for a moment. All right, so yesterday would have been Roddy Piper's 67th birthday. Why am I starting off the show with this fucking depressing shit? Well, because I want it. It's my show. Sorry. So if that offends your delicate sensibilities, I'm so sorry. Anyways, I'm not going to be one of those sad marks that outlines the time they got to talk to so-and-so and blah, 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 blah. Just Piper was a solid human and was much more generous with his time than I had any right to. WWE did a very cool tribute to him, which I'll link in the show notes as well as linking on the Twitch. Since I don't want to get that kind of heat on the heels of a copyright strike. That being said, his Wikipedia page is a goddamn clusterfuck. First of all, apparently, according to his Wikipedia, he got expelled for bringing a switchblade to his junior high. Well, kind of. He got expelled from his high school because Windsor Park Collegiate is grades 9 through 12, which is linked in the same Wikipedia where it says it's a junior high. But anyways, he got expelled because he brought an actual fixed blade 6-inch knife to school. It was a filleting knife, amusingly enough, because a group of 6 bullies were picking on a cop's kid. That's right. Roddy Piper was a cop's kid, and no one, including his own father, gave a shit that he was getting bullied. So, of course, he kind of snapped a little bit, brought a knife to school to defend himself. At the time, he was learning how to box at a private club and paying his way by cleaning and maintenance of the facility. He never claimed to have won a Golden Gloves boxing championship, but he did correctly remember that he once beat a Golden Gloves champ in a private boxing match after said champion, who the owner and witnesses agreed not to name, wouldn't stop bullying Rod. Amazing. Jesus Christ. He's just a bully magnet his whole goddamn career, poor guy. Shortly after getting expelled from school, his RCMP father kicked him out of the house, so he lived at the gym and went to high school in the area of the gym. He'd work around the boxing gym, which also had a weightlifting area, and do odd jobs for the members there, which included Al Tomko and Tony Condello. Now, they started teaching him the business, and Rod went along on a couple of Tony's death tours of the far north, something made infamous by Edge and Christian discussing it on their podcast and other content that they've put out there. Any wrestler that's ever been on the death tour talks about it as though it is simultaneously the best and worst thing they've ever done in their careers. Also, during this time, his mother came to try to talk him to come back home, but Roddy wouldn't have it. Eventually, his dad showed up there and there was an altercation. Rod left Winnipeg and moved to Calgary to continue his wrestling education with, yes, Stu Hart. He lived in the Hart's house, and the deal was that he had to finish grade 12 or Stu wouldn't take him in. Now, Stu was a fairly strict father figure, but didn't abuse his children. So, of course, he was a surrogate father to Rod. Now, when I say he didn't abuse his children, I am, of course, not talking about when they were wrestlers and not his children, which anybody that's watched anything with Stu Hart knows that he stretched everybody. Now, in 1973, Stu got Rod a tryout for the AWA, and the rest is fairly accurate history from the Wikipedia page. Now, there's a lot of very cool matches and promos from Roddy's career, but for me, and I'm not even really that big of a Bret Hart fan, but his Intercontinental match with Bret Hart at WrestleMania 8 is by far my favorite Roddy Piper match. The pre-match promo for that was amazing. Gorilla and Bobby Heenan calling the match action was fucking gold. So, I mean, if you've got the network or if you go watch WrestleMania 8, however you watch wrestling shows, not judging, go check out WrestleMania 8. I think it's about the 3rd or 4th match on the card, which, by the way, in that same pay-per-view, you've got Macho Man challenging Ric Flair for the WWF title, and that's at the mid-card position. Because, that's where the WWF Championship should be, because in the main event was Hogan versus Sid Vicious. Nothing? Thank you, producer boy. Now let's get back to Nitro. This is Nitro's 38th ratings win in the row, with a 3.4 to Raw's lowest score of the year at 1.9. There are 13,693 in attendance, with 10,358 actually paying to be there. And there was $137,000, 211. Excuse me. Let's say that again the right way, shall we? The $137,211 gate. There we go. Don't do that. Now, before Nitro went on the air, there was a dark match with Ernest the Cat Miller defeating Yuji Nagata. Yet another karate champion moving into wrestling business. This one works out, though, as he took to his power plant training well. He would make his first TV appearance, saving Glacier from Wrath and Mortis at Slamboree in May. But for now, we're going to see him from time to time in dark matches, as you'd expect from any real wrestling company. Excuse me. Holy shit. All right. The show starts off with Tony on a bump, and the NWO arrive in in the TNT WCW Monday Nitro stretch Hummer, followed by a traditional stretch limo delivering Dr. Harvey Schiller. Now, this was the first president of Turner Sports. Before everyone gets excited, he didn't get his doctorate in fucking medicine, so calm down. He got his doctorate in chemistry from the University of Michigan. Now, a lot of idiots in our industry, and by that I mean marks who think we know things, act or outright say out loud that he was a doctor in sports medicine, which he wasn't and isn't. He did fight in Nam and served in the Air Force from 62 to 86, reaching the rank of Brigadier General. Later, he would be recruited by George Steinbrenner in 1999 to become the CEO of Yankee Nets, which is the parent company of both, well, shouldn't say both, all three. You guessed it, the New York Yankees, the New Jersey Jets, and of course, the New Jersey Devils. Now, he would later be instrumental in the creation of the Yes Network, which is now worth over $3 billion. So basically, he's a successful version of Bischoff, and with an added successful military career. So there's that. I really don't feel like that is the proper sound effect for the gravitas of Dr. Harvey Schiller. Can I get something a little bit better than that, producer boy? All right, well, I suppose that works. First match of the night is Konnan and Hugh Morrus defeating Jeff Jarrett and Steve Mongo McMichael, with Deborah McMichael in their corner. The source that I found call her Deborah Marshall, which of course is her maiden name, if you're paying attention at home, kids. In 3 minutes, 13 seconds, I gave that 2 out of 5. Joe Heisenberg and Morrus come out to the actual Dungeon of Doom theme song and doing an excellent job of playing their heel roles well, getting reactions from the live crowd. McMichael gets the hot tag, does his 3 huge moves, gets a big pop as the Public Enemy come down to the ring and tussle with Jarrett and the Case before Mongo gets color the hard way. I feel like you're kind of overusing that. He gets color the hard way. All right, well, maybe that works a little bit better. Holy shit, did he ever get nailed in the head hard? Some Trailer Park NWO marks are at ringside on the hard cam side with their white t-shirts spray painted with N, then W, and then O. And when you look at them, when you catch an image of them, you will understand that it is not an exaggeration to call them Trailer Park NWO marks. Post-match is an in-ring promo with Gene and the Horsemen, mostly a decent promo until Deborah gets a hold of the stick and gets a ton of heat. All of this to put over their feud with Public Enemy, which wouldn't go anywhere. There are worse ways to build a pay-per-view match, but they're usually done by small indie companies, and not on the fly, and definitely not this badly. I guess this is what happens when Sullivan wins the fight for a match to start the show, but Eric wants to have reality TV bullshit for the whole goddamn show. Of course, that would work well for him later and those super awesome biker episodes that he came out with. After this, Diamond Dallas Page defeats Rick Fuller in 2 minutes, 8 seconds. Gave that one 2.5 out of 5. DDP gave Fuller a chance to look good and get some moves in during this job match. Now listen, the whole reason WCW is getting more over than WWF at the time is that they didn't have a bunch of jobber matches with ham and eggers. WCW would do these kind of matches with, I'm sorry, Rick Fuller way too fucking often to sit there and claim that they've got the moral high ground. Post-match, there's an in-ring promo with Gene and DDP. We recap the Savage NWO turn from last week before getting DDP's reaction to it all. DDP appears to challenge Savage at Uncensored, but in a slower, more methodic build. I assumed that this was somehow going to set the stage for something post-Uncensored, because in 2 weeks we get Uncensored and DDP's not in a match with Savage. So I'm not quite sure where we're going with this. I just know that the wheels are spinning. There's just no fucking traction. Juventud Guerrero after this defeats Rey Mendoza Jr. in 5 minutes, 6 seconds. Holy shit.
0.0.
No entrances from anyone and a botch from Mendoza 10 seconds into the match. Yeah, like, listen, Rey Mendoza Jr. runs a fucking wrestling promotion. Thank you. This was a horrible example of what Lucha Wrestling was at the time. It was just a goddamn botch fest of epic fucking proportions. Jesus, coughing all over the place. Just want to blow your ears out. Of course, this match is the one that gets the Castro DTX slow motion replay of the night with the best parts, which even in slow-mo were horrible and looked like shit. The cameras go to Tony and Larry at the announce position, which is quickly taken over by Jimmy Hart, Kevin Sullivan, and Jacqueline. These two just keep trying to make feuds and programs happen. And by that, I mean Sullivan and Jacqueline. Hart at this point is the music guy, and he's basically just, as long as he's on TV, he's happy. But watching Sullivan and Jackie try to make a program happen that's just not fucking happening is just, it's painful to watch. I get it. You're the booker. You should at least be in the mid card, or at least you would be in an indie company. But here we are months after the Benoit feud has fizzled out. And the last match, with the exception of Jackie taking that sweet bump on the table, was a garbage spot fest. Just like this fucking promo. After this, we get an NWO black denim jacket promo. Dean Malenko defeats Mike Enos after that in 4 minutes, 28 seconds. I gave that one 3.5 out of 5. Enos has his tights jacked up to his fucking armpits like he's 80 years old to hide his fucking belly. And guess what? Not working. Malenko actually showing commotion coming down to the ring and performed very well in the ring. But these are things that you can actually rely on and expect. Just don't give him a microphone. The whole point here is to put over Dean's aggression and sell the Eddie match. Frankly, it's working. As far as the packaging of Dean coming down to the ring and performing in the match. Later, he's going to get the stick and ruin it all. Enos has the job for pretty much the whole match here. Not quite sure why, because it's not like this match is going to bury him any more than he's already being buried. Post-match, the live cam catches Enos disappointed fuck under his breath as he gets out of the ring, but this got past the FCC viewers who levied no fines to this week's Nitro. Malenko afterwards does an in-ring promo post-match. Yes, he is a great wrestler. Yes, he is a great mat technician. Yes, he actually cuts a decent promo for a change. That's well deserved. What led to this match still doesn't make any goddamn sense, though. Isn't it enough that Eddie has the title and Malenko wants it? Well, no. No, it's not. Why? Because Malenko needs a push, and his old gimmick isn't getting the job done. A more aggressive Malenko, though, that might work. And then the booking team can drop the ball for a reason for that aggression. Yeah!
We coming for you, nigga!
Oh, you just fucking every time. Every time! We're already in shit with YouTube. Don't get me in shit with Twitch, too. Jesus Christ. There's a Gene Ramp promo with Eric Bischoff. Schiller misses his cue just a little bit, forcing Gene and Eric to stretch things out. But it was done very well. Gene helps Schiller get over, and the suspension gets a hell of a reaction from the live audience, but also from Larry Zbyszko. His suspension means that he can't even be at a WCW event. Now, Eric, Gene, and Larry really put this over the top. Now, one would hope that that would sort of happen, where Eric would, respect the suspension, but that would fuck up the whole heel gimmick. So hold John tight, because he'll be out later for Hogan's fucking big promo.
Hogan hour sucked.
Eddie Guerrero defeats the Ultimo Dragon after this with Sonny Ono in his corner. I gave that one 3 out of 5. That match took 3 minutes, 49 seconds. We're back from break, and quite a bit of Dragon's intro tune plays before he comes out, and then a close-up of a tanned MILF. What? She was. Don't be such an SJW. Did you watch the episode? And all right, moving on. Tanned MILF it is. Dragon tosses Eddie to the outside where Guerrero no-sells some kicks from Sonny Ono. Eddie gets an unintentional heel win here, which is absolutely shouldn't be leaned into since the WCW is full of heels right now and they need every fucking baby face that they can get. Post-match is an in-ring promo with Gene and Eddie. Eddie's already apologized and he's sick of Malenko's attitude. Malenko comes out to respond. Gene cuts out of the promo early, which is probably a good idea because they were going to start repeating themselves any moment. Back from break, Tenay and Hina join Tony as he recaps hour 1. Everyone agrees that Eric deserves to get a suspension, but Brain seems confused and thinks that he got fired. Scotty Riggs defeats Michael Wallstreet and Adoto. Every time, man. Every time. All right, well, here comes another fight with YouTube so that I don't get this demonetized. Can you at least turn it down until the fucking lyrics start? Thank you. Scotty Riggs defeats Michael Wallstreet via disqualification in 4 minutes, 27 seconds. I gave that 3.5 out of 5.
American males, American males, American males.
Does it really have to be like over me?
American males,
I guess so. Okay, thank you. Jesus Christ. 3.5 out of 5. The match was 4 minutes, 27 seconds. A very respectful, old school wrestling match here. Nothing to pop about, though, until Bagwell comes out for the save and gets Wallstreet disqualified. That golden voice bastard Lee Marshall calls in from the location of next week's Nitro, Club La Vela, whatever, at the Boardwalk Beach Resort in Panama City, Florida. Locals have circulated a petition that despite it being spring break, Bobby Heenan is barred from wearing a thong. Oh.
You will respect my authority.
Piper promo after this as Roddy makes his way to the ring. Tony begins to build the upcoming match again in a slow and infuriating way. So Piper's been given the green light to assemble a team for a 3-team affair at Uncensored, according to Tony. Now, why would he do this? Why would he tell us this much? Well, quite simply because that's what Piper is going to do out there. He's going to talk about this. And they don't trust Piper to explain it properly, so Tony's going to have to lay some groundwork before instead of explaining it afterwards. Now, I mean, I guess they could have entrusted Piper to deliver this news since it would have gotten a good reaction from the crowd and it would have made the match with 6 different men make sense. Instead, the license audience gets the audience gets ham and eggers one after the other. No one knows what the name of the first guy was. He literally is called some guy on pretty much every dirt sheet and blog worth mentioning. He taps out to the Kimura lock, so let's just call him Kimura Guy. Hirshu comes out next, although fans may know him better from his 2-year run in the WWE where he played Kurt Angle's assistant, Luther Reigns, no relation. I'd hate on his Daisy Duke cutoff shorts, but wrestlers work in Speedos, so fuck it, moving on, next jobber. Another nobody starts coming down to the ring, gets blasted from behind in the head by the 4th nobody, who comes in boxer briefs and boxing gloves. This guy was actually a stuntman and a friend of Piper's called Craig Malley. Now, Piper puts on some training mitts and dukes it out with Mr. Funderwear, who no-sells knockdowns except, the legit ones. Tony can't help but laugh at this fucking circus on the commentary. The fans boo him. So Piper tries one more time after getting the stick to put this kid over as a teammate. Fans just aren't having it. Jobber number 5 comes out, Leighton Morrison, also no relation, who is another movie stuntman who looks like Dr. Death on meth. He gets in a couple of ghost kicks that Piper sells. Piper eventually low blows Morrison, who sells it for about 3 seconds before Piper tries to get the fans into this clown, and they don't. Jobber number 6 is Earthquake, or as some of you in WCW right now know him as John fucking Tenta, who finally gets a reaction out of the goddamn crowd after getting the upper hand. Morrison and Malley get into the ring and try to take out Tenta for Piper. Now, Piper gets the stick and he announces that this is his team. And then he slaps all 3 of them in the face and says, "No offense," before finishing off the promo. I mean, my fuck. There are worse ways of doing this, but I really can't think of any right now. I guess he figures because the stuntmen can take bumps, they'll be able to put over this promo and maybe even the match. They couldn't and didn't. Even Tenta was out of his element here, and he's a full-on carny wrestler. We'll find out later that Piper did get a team of actual wrestlers together, and we'll find out exactly what in the hell this match is supposed to be. But we're going to have to wait till next week's show, presumably, assuming Sullivan isn't too busy putting himself over to build this pay-per-view. So just because I know you're all interested, the actual match is going to be called the Triangle Elimination Match. Essentially, 3 teams will be in the match. Team NWO, which consists of Hogan, Savage, Nash, and Hall. Team Piper, which ends up being Piper, Benoit, McMichael, and Jarrett, which is awesome. Team WCW, which is Luger, Giant, and Scott Steiner. I'm not really sure where Rick Steiner was, as he wasn't hurt, but he didn't end up being in the match according to the readouts that I've seen. I'm going to have to watch that pay-per-view and make sure, though, before I fucking commit to that deal again. Now, you eliminate somebody by making them tap out or putting them over the top rope. Now, since Luger's the only one actually in this match with a submission finisher, Benoit's crippler crossface comes later. His current finisher is still the diving headbutt. You can imagine who gets all the submission victories. Our boy Luger. Anyways, let's move on in the matches of the night. Rey Mysterio Jr. defeats Mr. JL in 4 minutes, 6 seconds. I gave that 2.5 out of 5. Back from break. No intros for anyone because the Piper segment ran long, and we've still got Hogan's shitty promo to kill the heat of the night.
Hogan hours sucked.
Side by side, there's a promo of a very uncharismatic Prince Iake to put over his title match at Uncensored against Rey Mysterio Jr. for the TV strap. JL fucks up a perfectly simple move against Mysterio. Now, I'm not really sure if you meant to do a spine buster or a knee drop, but he ended up dropping Rey tailbone first right onto JL's knee. Now, luckily, he wears large knee pads, but fucking hell, that botch looked like it actually hurt. Rey cuts a post-match promo to the live cam aimed at Iakea, and there's your build, essentially, for the TV title match at the Uncensored pay-per-view. Whatever. Gene Ramp promo with a braless Medusa. This is a very fucking cool promo. And that verged on a shoot about the state of women's wrestling in WCW. What? Now she shoots on Luna Vachon, who immediately comes out, and we've got an entrance ramp women's wrestling match that Tony instantly makes fucking creepy as he... I mean, have you ever watched basketball and they're watching the cheerleaders and the one announcer's like, okay, yes. That Tony Schiavone sounds like that as he's watching Luna Vachon and Medusa fight on the camera. I mean, I could say this for him. At least Tony didn't pull a Joey Styles or a Jerry Lawler and scream that it's a cat fight. Eric talked Medusa into dropping the WWF title belt, the women's title belt, into a garbage can live on air with the promise of putting over a women's division in WCW, but thus far has put on less than a handful of women's matches on live television. So, yeah, this was a bit of a work, but mostly a fucking shoot, and a hard shoot at that because, Medusa got some serious heat backstage for doing this, and I'm just going to leave it up in the air as to whether or not she's actually going to have a match at the pay-per-view or not. Back from break, there's an NWO promo. They come out of the back, and Bobby Heenan observes that Liz looks more satisfied lately. Jesus Christ. Oh, the 90s really were a different time. The legit Sting follows at the back as the NWO come out to ringside. A fan in the background flips the NWO the finger as they begin filling up the ring. No FCC violation here since technically the finger is not on FCC's list of words that you can't say on TV. They'll amend that because of Steve Austin, but for now, fingers are cool. Now, the Hogan promo kicks into high gear about Schiller, and this made sense in the world of wrestling. Unfortunately, it didn't end there. Hogan's gonna shoot now. His words. Fuck. Here we go again. When dads try to be cool, lessons are in session.
Hogan hours sucked.
After this abysmal fucking promo that died because Hogan can't stay on script or manage to keep in kayfabe, and when he breaks kayfabe, can't be cool doing it, there is a break where there's an uncensored promo. That's that Hugh Morrus one where he's behind bars screaming. Whatever. It's not the worst promo I've ever seen for a pay-per-view. Lex Luger and the Giant, after we get back from break, fight Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner to a no contest. I gave that 3 out of 5. There's no time on this thing because it's unclear when the no contest actually happened, because basically Once the once the NWO start coming down the ring, the ref just runs away like a little girl. So it's nobody really knows what's going on here. Now it looks like the Giant's been training with Luger in the gym and also lubing up with baby oil too. So there are some lessons that you should immediately unlearn, wrestling fans. There's a very nice tandem snap suplex, Jesus, from the Steiners to the Giant here that looked great and got a nice reaction from the crowd. The NWO comes down to surround the ring. Piper and his team come out of the crowd too, and now there's 8 guys in the ring facing away from the fucking hard cam. Jesus.
All right.
With all these people in and around the ring, the fans start chanting, "We want Sting," and the live cam finds Sting, who starts to turn away from the ring as the live footage goes back to the ring and the schmoz starts. Now, hindsight being 2020, it would have served this program and Sting's character if the show had gone dark on Sting walking back to the entrance ramp while the live camera backs up to see Sting's face and the action going on in the ring behind him. That's revisionist booking. However, Eric prides himself on being a fucking professional television guy. Remember? Why the fuck do we care about a schmoz that we can't make heads or tails out of going on in the ring when the better shot is very clearly Sting over the shoulder in ring action? Again, I'm hindsight booking. I'm not really sorry about it, but fuck's sakes, man. You're supposed to be a professional and you get paid to do that. Overall, it's a pretty solid Nitro. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. As much as it pains me to say it, the Piper segment was dog shit. I mean, pure, unadulterated dog shit. I don't understand why they wouldn't have just made this a Horseman Piper promo and explained the fucking match properly. This was your first chance to explain the match. This would have made much more sense. Piper could have come out and done the first few minutes of his promo as he wanted to do it. Then when the jobbers start coming out, just go live to the back where the Horsemen just lay them all out. And then the Horsemen come down to the ring. It would have allowed Flair and Piper to cut a promo together. Gold. Would have made the Horsemen relevant in the company. Gold. Instead of the fucking low card booking they keep getting against the goddamn dungeon. And it would have given Piper the rub he needed to put his team over the top and get an actual reaction out of the crowd that wasn't. Well, let's be honest. With the exception of fucking Earthquake, they just booed it out of the fucking building. I get it. Piper worked hard to make it go over, but it just sucked. It was a shitty fucking idea. It's not as though the Horsemen aren't over in WCW. You don't have to bury them to put over the NWO. The NWO is growing organically due to the rising rebellious nature of the wrestling audience anyways, so who gives a fuck? Now, I know we're eventually going to get to see the Horseman Piper team anyway, but what the fuck were Bischoff, Sullivan, and Hogan thinking, letting Piper put 2 stuntmen out there to botch around the ring for 10 minutes? Sometimes a promoter and a booker have to overrule the talent to build and put over a show that's going to draw money. Because at the end of the day, wrestling is a show to generate income. Not just income for the company, but for the fucking promotion and for the fucking wrestlers that are doing their jobs out there. Now, here's the thing. The Hogan promo when on Schiller was good. When the transition to Piper, it's almost as though Hogan wanted Piper to get his way so that he could shoot, his words again, not mine, on Piper's segment to put himself over as the booker and as the champion. It's just petty bullshit like this that ruins a perfectly good show. Grow up. You're supposed to be professionals. Go do your fucking jobs. Why the fuck did I give this show 3.5 out of 5 again? Jesus Christ. Oh, right. Because the actual wrestling matches were good. That's why it gets the 3.5 out of 5. The promos, other than Sullivan and Hogan's, were good. The pay-per-view is being built before the go-home for a change. Also good. There's some great spots in here, shrouded by the selfishness of the booking team. Well, 2 of them anyways. I will give Bischoff his props this week. His segment with Schiller was excellent. And how the NWO promo started with some of the great cowardly heel shit that Eric Bischoff does here is absolute gold and gets an awesome crowd reaction.
Well, that was an abortion of a show. Should the mood take you, check out markoutradio.com and leave a comment. You can also find links there to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Stitcher channels. You can even leave a voicemail on our Skype. Just click the links and share them.